Boys aged 10 to 14 years old took a 6-year-old girl to empty building and raped her.
11-year-old girl selling flowers, kidnapped, raped, and left to die in forest by rickshaw driver.
Ex-Air Force officer jailed for raping her daughter since she was only 6. Says this is how fathers show love.
We hear rape headlines like these every day now. And slowly, they stop shocking us. They become just another notification, another scroll, another forgotten story. But in between these headlines, there lies the deeper question. Why are these cases not taking a stop? What's driving this behavior? That's exactly what we're diving into today, right here on Infinity. Why are rapes happening? To understand why rapes are actually taking place, we need to understand that there are not one type of rapist. There are many, and why they rape varies from person to person. Let's cover a few. Anger rapists. These rapists are people who like to humiliate, torture, and hurt victims. They like to use excessive amount of physical force and use profane language. They do this out of anger. For them, rape is the ultimate expression of their anger. Rape is the medium they use to take out their anger. Power assertive rapists. These people are the ones who are looked upon in society. These are the ones who always feel intimidated. People shout at them, control them, and often question their capability and authority. For them, rape is a medium through which they feel that they have strength, authority, and domination. Sadistic rapist. These type of rapists get sexually aroused by inflicting pain upon their victims. They find it satisfying to give pain, anguish, suffering, and helplessness to the victim. Basically, they like when people fight for their lives, and that is sexually pleasing to them. Neurological point of view. Neuroscience says a healthy amount of rapists are people who struggle to cope up with their emotions. They fail to identify their sexual desires and what causes them an arousal. They fail to control those sexual desires and have little to no idea as to what is wrong or right. Insecure attachment lens. People who have suffered in the early stages of their lives and have faced problems like child abuse, parental divorce, bad friendships, etc. Specifically those beings who have never witnessed enough emotional presence of someone else in their life seek to fulfill this absence of intimacy through faulty methods. So as to sum up, there is not a single reason as to why a person feels the urge to rape someone. There are multiple reasons ranging from anger, loneliness, uncontrollable sexual desire, and a lot more. But why is the count not going down? There are multiple reasons to this as well. Problem 1. Underreporting. Many cases do not reach the police station. Yes, this is true. There are still people who choose to suffer in silence. They won't tell society because of the societal stigma, thinking about what the world would think of them, without realizing the fact that none of this even matters. Families and communities pressurize their children to not speak up, for it will be a shame to their family or the community from which they belong to. People do not complain to the government and to the police station because they have no trust left. After seeing how leniently the government is treating criminals, people do not trust the government anymore. Organizations like the World Health Organization and UN Women have repeatedly noted that reported numbers are only a fraction of actual incidents. Solution. To tackle the problem of underreporting, we can make anonymous helpline number and digital reporting portals where the survivors and their families can report about the crime, but their names can be kept confidential if they want to. Our task is not to advertise about the survivors or but rather to quietly tell the world about the crime that took place and the punishment that is being given. Public campaigns can be held, which would help people to realize that speaking up is normal. We should hold responsible media coverage, where it must be made sure that only the relevant, required, and important information and updates on the same is shown. Problem 2. Gender inequality mindset. In many societies, boys and girls are raised with unusual expectations. Boys are encouraged to dominate and suppress emotions, whilst girls are encouraged to adjust and tolerate. At times, the victim, who is in most of the cases a female, is blamed for being raped. The comments wander around saying like, she was the one wearing short clothes, she should not have been there at that time, and a lot more. Females are harassed, and this harassment is normalized under the name of humor. Objectifying women and speaking of her as a thing and not a human is the worst enemy. People around start thinking that this is normal, and they start believing that females are weak and are born to be subservient. Solution: educating people to stop blaming the victim for the act and focus on identifying and catching the culprit who is behind the same. Equality and mutual respect should not just be a short answer question of a chapter. It should be a practice which should be taught at the earliest age of a child, making sure they understand the depth of it. Respect must be learned, not assumed. Boundaries need to be made, and people need to realize a clear difference between humor and harassment. Problem 3. Weak and slow justice process. Justice delayed is justice denied. Even when people gather the courage to report a crime, the system often fails to respond with urgency. We feel ashamed to stay in a country where tens of thousands of cases are reported of physical assault and rape, and only 27 to 28% of them are solved. Remaining culprits are still moving around freely. Evidences are washed off. Rich ones are set free. Victims are forced to not open up about their sufferings. On top of that, courts are overloaded with lakhs of cases pending across states. Trials stretch for years. Families suffer, and only a fraction of them actually get justice. All of the other accept the destiny and suffer inside for the rest of their lives. Solution: if system wants public to trust back on them, a root structural change is necessary. Only big fake statements and strong baseless promises won't work. The government must expand and resource fast-track courts. They have to prepare a strong system which should improve the effectiveness, efficiency, and impact of cases. We must enforce investigation timelines. People need to start taking things like these very seriously and not like a normal morning flu. We need better training in forensic infrastructure to identify the impact on victims and give a fast and clear statement about what their health status is. Problem 4. Lack of education about consent. Consent, especially in Indian society, has been a matter very rarely been talked about and never given any importance, as if a thing like these never even exists. Husband feels that it is his right to have sex with his partner whenever he wants to, even when she doesn't feel like it. Female consent never comes to play. She is rarely asked if she actually wants to do certain things or not. Instead, she is ordered, and later justified by a mundane dialogue, that it's her duty to serve her husband and family. Globally, data highlighted by World Health Organization shows that about 1 in every 3 women experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. Solution: we need to provide a structural school education. Children should be exposed to age-appropriate teaching, including teachings about boundaries and respect. Children must be taught from a very early age about communication and emotional awareness. Not just theory, practical scenario-based learning is also a must. Campaigns must be held for general public that explains consent clearly. Workshops and open conversation regarding all such topics, some of which may be taboo to society, must be held. Questions should never be discouraged. All the curiosity should be satisfied by professionals before people try to figure it out by themselves, which, whilst doing so, they might up in a very wrong place. If systems moved faster, careful, and without any blindfold, if education went deeper than formulas and by hearting useless answers, if understanding stops coming only after the damage is done, maybe then, just maybe then, this situation might be in hands. Real safety is built through accountability, awareness, and responsibility. Infinity.